Hello and welcome back to Satisfactory. So we're in the middle of the 6 easy pieces construction, and I've brought the diagram back up on the left-hand side of the recording there, and on the right-hand side you see peeking through the interactive map showing what we've built so far. I have turned on showing the foundations, so you see the general shape of it. You see where it's got the raised corner clipped ones up on the sides. This doesn't give any sense of what altitude things are at, but it gives us a good top-down view. And the way I put the power in on my power floors, it's obvious where we have the manufacturing floors. And I did space things out on purpose. I didn't plan on them having so much spaced out that it was really just nothing is above anybody else, but there we have it. Plenty of space available for moving belts around. It also occurred to me while I was looking at this, I am not limited to north, south, east, west. I could have turned my building areas and such, I could have turned them by 30 degrees so that they would really be a hexagon. I will leave that for a future build. I'll start building with nice curves and angles and all of that, but for right now, this build, we're just gonna keep it easy. Let's turn off the browser. On the left-hand side, of course, is the diagram that I will be following. It takes up half the screen, so I will be dismissing it. And I'm going to put that somewhere I can refer to it. And I think we're going to start off with the hard part. I'm going to start off with the cooling device area, which is in the southeast, because it has to deal with this over here. So not only do we have to do the cooling, we have to do the unpackaging of the nitrogen gases, and we have to send the empties back. So two things we're going to have to put on this place is a blender for making the cooling devices and a packager for unpackaging. Let's see if we have a nice blueprint to start off with a blender. The outputs are going to go toward the middle, so in this case it's toward the right. So of course we're not going to have a blender all set up. So here's a BB blender, and this is just one unit. It's not a by 5 blueprint by any means. It's just the blueprint that I would normally put inside a 5x5. And I am going to see what I want to do with this. Oh, come on. Rotate it this way. If I rotate it this way, okay, here's my outputs. Output toward the middle, which means the blender's input is going to be heat sinks and motors and nitrogen gas. Well, here's the heat sinks, and the motors are going to come from across there. Actually, the motors are coming from the next guy up. Okay. Hold on. That's oriented north. Blender here, our rigger motor is here. Okay, so rigger motor and nitrogen coming in from there, and heat sink coming in from there. So that's all kind of off to the right. Let's find our blueprint again. So that brings our inputs from the right. And if I move it down here a bit, turn off the text. There. And we want to build the cooling device. So we need one gas input. So we're one, not two gas inputs, two solid inputs and a gas input, and a solid output. I think I can bring the nitrogen in on the level one. I prefer using the level ones to the raised one. The raised one is kind of a, if you have to do it, and the output is just a solid. So there's our connections. I have a number of things that I get rid of when I start putting these in place. There's our little walls that we use for alignment and extent. Okay, so input from here. This is the heat sinks. They only go to me. I notice we have one input that's doubled back toward the middle. That's convenient. There we go. And that will fill up the heat sinks. Motors are going to be coming from another factory over there. And I need to have space here to do the unpackaging. Question, do I want to raise the unpackager? I don't think so. I think I just want to put this in here, like that. So we've got the canisters coming in, and we're going to have a return line. And the return line is that way, so. I believe this is our only use of nitrogen. That's correct. Okay, well, it's going to come right along this line then. This is the return line. So I am going to be bringing it here, like that. And the full line, like that. And we want to unpackage nitrogen gas. And I am going to use horizontal to vertical, but it's still going to give me a slope like that, so it doesn't really matter. Nitrogen is white. And your power goes down underneath along that line and kind of here. That happens to line up with this. So what I'm going to do... Oh, come on. Power. Wall outlet Mark II. I think it was here. Or was it here? H for hologram. That looks good. Check the other way. Okay, so we are not quite online with the center bit, so we'll do this. I don't want to disrupt that straight line. So this should now be turning out nitrogen. Bingo. Now this guy is supposed to have a raised floor. In fact, it's supposed to have 2 raised floors. I think I know how to do this. I'm going to do some walls. I will put walls with holes in them when appropriate. Be easier if I set that to zoop, huh? That buttons that up. I probably shouldn't be messing with this. But when one has an idea, one ought to follow through on it. So I'm good with the pipe going through, but I'd really rather have these guys go through an actual wall with an actual wall thingy. And the other output, I believe, is dead centered here. Yes. So we're going to go with a conveyor wall on each one of these. There we go. So if this guy had power, we'd be cooking. Gonna need to knock this open to grab his power and take it down. That way looks good. That way looks good. So we're now filling up. We can't make cooling devices yet because the motors aren't being supplied, but we have everything else. And now all we need to do is supply it to our output, which goes over here. So this is heat sinks. It's passive. We don't own a drone. We don't have any fuel. We just have heat sinks that somebody can send a drone to come pick up. Okay, so there's the blender. That's one of the oddball ones. So now if I went out to the other side, well, I'm going there. Okay, so he won't be flying off until he has finished unloading. That's okay. Gonna leave the signs alone for a bit. So the next oddball one is the Northwest, which is our plastic AI limiter, which is going to be in an assembler. Oh, one assembler. Oh, good Lord. Can I build just one assembler? His inputs are going to be plastic and quick wire, which is there and there. And his output will be going to the center and also to the crystal oscillator, which is, if I'm faced north, I'm there. The crystal oscillator is over that way. So he's going to be coming out that way. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the blueprint that has 3 assemblers. Do I still have a blueprint with 3 assemblers? I don't think I do. No, I no longer have a blueprint with 3 assemblers, so I'm not going to use it. Given that this is temporary and that we're going to be replacing machines, and it's likely that what we replace this with will not be a one assembler thing, I'll just drop down the assembler in place. Just like that. So your output gets split 2 directions. One goes to there and one goes over there. So I'm going to put the splitter here. Let me take a look at this real quick. AI limiters. This produces 2.5 AI limiters per minute. And we need 2 of them off to the right. I'm going to split it half and half for now. No, I am going to do 2/3 to the right. The way you do that is you're sending 1/3 to the left and 1/3 to the right and the other third to the other right. And this is going to go out and that way somewhere. Good enough. Now this is just right there. Yeah, we'll put it there. So that's going to end up going there. Is that right? No, it's not. There. So there we have it. This is... Oh, plastic AI limiters haven't actually been unlocked yet. There we go, plastic AI limiter. Now, on my plan that I'm actually looking at, everything's kind of downclocked. We're not downclocking things as we implement, so we're going to get much higher burst output rates, which means we may overdraw our inputs based on what our actual outputs want to be. But once our outputs back up, we'll be back to normal. So pretty much we have to do one stage of this factory at a time and let everything fill in all of the manifolds. Otherwise, we're going to have parts of the factory starving the other parts of the factory. So one AI limiter, copper sheets, and quick wire, but we wanted plastic AI limiter. There we go, quick wire and plastic. And quick wire and plastic, let me check the diagram here. Plastic also goes off to the right. So you're going to come down and get split. And I'll put you here. I'll put you here. And you are going to come down and you just go right in. Now I could do you just as a straight like that. And I could do you as a straight like that. And you can't get much simpler than that. You'll notice that I am not diverting any of these intermediates over to the depot, because all of this stuff, if I need it, I already have it in the depot from the older base. And I don't want to be waiting around for these guys to fill up a container in front of a depot. So that's the second one. So we have done AI limiters, and we have done the cooling device stuff. Actually, let's put up the checklist on the screen so you can see what I'm doing. So cooling device is done. I believe I have, let's not check those off until we've checked it. AI limiters are done. I don't need to have the net imports on the screen at the moment. There we go. And I'll bring up the graphic in a separate window, which is not on screen on the recording, because I still need to refer to it. Onward. Facing north again to orient ourselves. We have done the AI limiter on the northwest. We could just go around, so that would be the smart plating and rigger motor, and we've done that one, and radio control system and oscillator. Okay. I'm thinking the oscillator would be better to do next, because he is used in a couple of places and I can route his outputs appropriately. Let's see, the crystal oscillator is used in the rigger motor and in the radio control system. So do I have a blueprint which is a unconfigured manufacturer? No, I don't. Well, that's interesting. What I do have is a manufacturer with boxes. That doesn't help. I guess I could just plop down manufacturers on their own. I mean, it's not like there's a whole lot of belt work that's going to go into all of this that is common. I mean, each one of them is going to have its belts hooked up, but I don't really need to bury the belts underneath. So we're going to set you up. So what I'm looking at right now is the output area, and I'm putting it dead center this way and out this way a little bit, so he can lead into a splitter still within the gray area. And that gives us more space to handle its inputs. So this is insulated crystal oscillator that we're doing here. He needs quartz crystal, rubber, and AI limiter. So AI limiters are coming from over here. And there's quartz crystal. And there's rubber. So let's bring the AI limiters in. They need to come in there. I will bring them like that. Oh, let's get the power. So the power is kind of dead center middle on that guy. Oh, that's right in the middle of one of these guys. How about that? Wall outlet. And we could just connect it right up. Well, that's convenient. So he's got power, and he now has his AI limiters. And rubber comes down here. And we're going to bring you across. And let's see, across to, say, here. And this guy. We're going to bring you across to, about here. All kind of arbitrary. But see, with the amount of planning that I've done up front and the order that I built the factory, and getting these guys hooked up is, well, it looks very simple. Oh, while I was running around, I picked up one of those and one of those. I got a whole bunch of fuel out of the depot thinking I was going to seed my my drones. I did not, so I have a whole bunch of fuel that I'm going to have to drop somewhere that's going to make it go back in the depot. And you are going to go out to a splitter. So you're going across to the rigger motor, which is over there, and you're going over to the right to the radio control system. I will take from this side to go across to the rigger motor. And from the center, to there. And this guy is going to go over that way. So that should be enough to remind me of where things are. Now, rates on these are nice and low. On the diagram, I have the crystal oscillator as 1.07 manufacturers. So I am going to 2x this guy. And it is tempting to sloop him. I will come back and start slooping things in the factory to make it better and faster. But I don't think that this is going to be one of them. So we already have 3 of them over there. And we're sending them up. Next one should come over here. Right. So next guy around, as long as we just did the crystal oscillator, let's do the radio control system. And again, I'm going to put this in that. So the radio control system is purely an export. And it takes circuit boards, aluminum casings, rubber, and crystal oscillators. And we have rubber coming in here and crystal oscillators here. So we need a splitter on this guy. Is that right? Is that right? That's not right. There, that's right. So I'm going to bring him in on that lane and this guy on that lane. Let's bring them both out to here. Well, let's bring one of them to here, the other one a little further. Oh. Okay. Well, that works. So rubber and crystal oscillators are coming in. This guy is the alternate radio control system, which also has not been unlocked. Where did I put the MAM? Did I pick it up? I probably picked it up. Yeah, let's just leave it out here in the middle. Radio control system. Okay, power. So we are dead center on that again. Same as before. These are easy to hook up with where I've placed them. Meh. Okay, you've got power, you've got your rubber, you've got your oscillators coming in, circuit boards, and aluminum casings. And here are the aluminum casings. Neither one of these is shared. So we're going to come out like that. We're going to come out to arbitrary. So circuit boards got kind of screwed up here. There. And now we have circuit boards. Radio control systems are, the plan has them underclocked to 33.5%. We're going to leave it at 1. It will burst a little faster than normal for a while. And his output just goes to the normal place. I am going to bring you out to there, and then use straight line routing like that. Next one is, let's see, we've done the cooling device. We even got him all buttoned up nicely, like we haven't done to any of the others. Now, I could have just dropped him down in place and not worried about the blueprint. I probably should have. If I'd known I was just going to drop the manufacturers in place, I would have. Let's do the rigger motor now. The rigger motor is a manufacturer. It's got inputs of rotor, iron plate. Oops, no, rigger motor is rotor, stator, and motor. And the motor is coming from over here. So it's going to come up alongside. Let's bring it across. At least this far. Place him in the usual spot. I'm going to do the power to start with this time. So, that's the wrong thing. So I have a horizontal line drawn across my thingy between the crystal oscillator and the rigger motor. And I guess it's that I need crystal oscillators for rigger motors. That's not what I was expecting to see there. Let's get the rigger motor unlocked so I can verify. We're going to have to feed some more disk drives to this thing at some point. So rigger motor is rotor, stator, and crystal oscillator. Good. Okay. So the crystal oscillator is going to need to come up alongside this guy. And that's too close even for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay in the actual route I want to take here. Now, rigger motors are going to be used, yeah, they're going to be used in the, they're used in the cooling device? Why do I have a line to the cooling device? Yeah, I hadn't routed my motors yet. Okay, that's the downside of buttoning this thing up, is I missed that I hadn't routed one of my inputs. So this input needs tucked in, around, and through somehow to get out here. There. So rigger motors go in here. Which means from here I need to have a splitter. You go in like that, and I need to bring you over there. Let's bring it to there and across. So rigger motors turn out, see, we're asking for 2.7 of them, and it is wanting 1.8, so 2/3 of them need to go to the output, which means I need to put a merger here. There. So 2/3 of my motors will go to the output. 1/3 will be routed over this way. That should be about right. It doesn't have to be exact, but closer is better. The closer you are, the closer you are, the longer it takes to fill the manifold. But you still, while you're filling the manifold, you're reasonably near getting stuff the way you want. And stator also needs to come in. So rotors and stators and crystal oscillators. Yep, here's the rotors. So stators I'm going to bring in here. You're the wrong way, because you did not actually clip in. There you go. So rotors, stators, crystal oscillators, motors on the output, 2/3 go up, 1/3 gets routed over to there. So you are good. So what we have left is the plastic smart plating in the northeast here. Grab one of these guys. Drop it in place. Again, I haven't yet opened up that recipe. I've tried not to open up recipes until I actually needed them. Because every time you open up a recipe, it puts the other half of that selection back in the pool, which means you got to put more disk drives in. Plastic smart plating. So reinforced iron plate, rotors, and plastic. This time I'm going to remember to go down below first. It's the middle of that guy. Grab one of those. Drop him on there, and he now has power. So his only output is to the true output. Boom. So plastic and rotors are both shared with other people. There's plastic. And rotors are over here. So we need a splitter here. Let's see. And now we need reinforced iron plates, which should be this guy. Yep. Boom, there we go. Five per minute, so 12 seconds each. 24 seconds, we get a pair. Got it. And I think that's hooked everybody up. Do we see any tag ends of belts? That's the number one clue, would be a belt that has a tag end. Or a building unit that is not either yellow or cyan for the overclocked one. I think we're good. I think we are making all 6 of our things now. So now I can go around to these guys and I can mark them. So this is, look at that and I can say, well, you've got motors. You are motor supply. You are smart plating supply. AI limiter supply. Crystal oscillator supply. Radio control unit. There's all 6 of our things. We have some quantity in all of them. I think we're done. So the other thing I wanted to double check was what's going on with our fuel. Probably won't see a whole lot of interesting stuff here. He's not orbiting, he's just staying there. I think he might be bugged. I am not sure, though. I would not be surprised. Can I trigger a changing of the guard by grabbing some of this stuff? He's stuck there. Right. So do not put 2 drones on 1 drone port. Oh, I could have control dragged across all along. Okay. So he's still set with the target type. We have 1 drone. We're no longer confused. We're no longer locked up. Yeah, that would have been unfortunate if I'd logged out and let this thing sit for 6 hours. Probably would have drained all of the fuel from all of the places. Of course, that does mean I have a lot more fuel in my inventory now because I have the fuel from the drone that was just hovering. I could probably just sink it. Wouldn't it be nice if, as long as I had a sink here, I had a way to drop things into it? I don't see any easy way to just drop something into that sink, though. I will drop it in the central base next chance I get, which is right over there. Let's go do that. Like little moth drones. So I set up my storage area over there so that we would automatically store things and we'd automatically put things into the depot. But the weakness that I realized later on was it puts things into the depot from the first box, but it also has that second box, and you don't, once it's not gone to the depot from the first box, it lands in the second box and just sits there. So if I put this fuel into my auto sorter, it will end up having stuff out front. And I am good with that. I've done that already with these guys. So we have our Nobelisks in that box. And as I add more Nobelisks to the sorter, we'll put some in there and I'll put some in the... And what I want to do here is set this to the packaged turbo fuel. We go around back and set the center one. That's for the high-speed inputs. We don't have high-speed inputs lined up on any of these yet. And we want to set left to packaged turbo fuel. I'm tearing down the signs so we know that these have been set. We go here, and I'm going to put all of you, except I'm going to take back one. Notice all of those are being sucked right in. There's Mark 1 belts on this guy, so it's going to take a while before any of these appear. But isn't it great how you can just walk up and you can see what's actually in there? You can see what we've assigned to be in there. The other thing is I don't want to put anything in here where we need to get absolutely the last one, because then I would have to work out how to pick them out of there. And currently, I'm not able to just pick up something off of the vertical lift. I would have to have the bottom of that have another thingy that came out with a belt that I could take something off of. So we may redesign the storage. I would want to have the depot uploader would need to be flush with the front. So if there's any input available here at all, it's all, so from here it would go up to the depot. That means probably the box wouldn't be flush front. Although I still want the box to be available. Maybe you walk in a little bit. So you have this, and then you walk into a recessed area to go pick it up in bulk. I also want to be able to have, I want to be able to take off of here, which means either this goes down, back around and back into the box, or it goes down and comes out the front, and we're able to pick it off the front somehow. Yes, that definitely will need something in the way of a building wrapped around it, a building shell wrapped around it. Let's run some power from here. So with that done, I think the only thing left to do is to have one small cluster of buildings for each product we're building. Now, it's not final assembly yet. But yeah, wrap a building around this, put some good supports underneath it. That will allow us later on to put different stuff inside. And here's our rooftop exports, and these guys will stick out at the wall. So I think this concrete skirt, which is where I've got my fuel going around, that should be just inside the outer wall. So the outer wall would like cut through, and we'll do something special on the outer wall to expose the drone ports. That is, if I decide to go from this being a logistics game to being a architecture and beautiful game. I'm not really good at the whole making it look pretty thing. Is there someplace I can see all of the stuff that's in here? A little lower. There we go. Come on, come on, come on. I just want to We'll settle right here on the edge. Just like this. There we go. That's kind of a good picture. And we took a photo of that. And there we have it. There's the 6 easy pieces, which in the future we may drop in different factories or the same ones. We may scale them up. There's plenty of building space in here. I've got plenty of vertical space over each one of those. As we saw on the floor plan, the 5x5 area is actually clear up to the sky, so each one of those 6 areas could go vertical. We have space for more drone ports around the outside, and we can do that without even disrupting our fuel delivery system. So I think this is going to be kind of a nice little catch-all assembly center. And I think we're good. And we're going to come back in the next one and start building something that's going to go to the elevator. I will see you then.